Tonight, we have a problem. There's so many successful people in this room, but some of you are renting your success. You're not owning your success. And that is causing a big problem, whether you know it or not. When you rent your success, long hours, working hard, burning out. When you own your success, you become a valuable asset that appreciates and grows in value, and you receive more value. You get paid more, your business does better, you become the treasured person. In the room tonight, who would like me to share with them the secret to owning your success? All right, here we go. I know that all of you work extremely hard to grow your business, to grow your career, to reach your full potential. That may mean sacrifice away from your family, away from your kids, away from your hobbies, things you enjoy, because of the passion you have to be successful. It's what brought you and got you into this room tonight, and I applaud all of you for that. I believe that you deserve to enjoy the benefits of the fruits of your labor and your hard work. Here's why this is so important. Because tonight I want to teach you how to own your success by owning a problem. Own a problem. You own your success. Here's why this matters. When you continue to focus on your product and services, features and benefits, you automatically put yourself in a comparison game to your competitors. Because to the customer who wants their problem solved, you appear to be like everybody else. And that is just not right. We know that the 40 people in this room provide the best service, provide the best products, provide the best experience. So no one should work with anyone besides the 40 people in this room. Would we agree with that, 40? That's right. So the problem is, if you continue to think of yourself like a commodity, like you're like everybody else, you will continue to burn the candle at this end, and then at this end, and eventually the ends meet, and you burn out. I can't allow that to happen. Arlington needs all of you. Texas needs all of you. The world needs the 40 people in this room to solve more problems. Because if other people try to solve them, it won't be solved as well as the people in this room. Now, how do we do that? I was talking to Matthew McConaughey recently. He was on my podcast. What a dynamic guy. He said, Derrick, I had a problem that I struggled with. He was the rom-com guy. I know he and I look a lot alike, and it's probably confusing many of you right now, but I am not Matthew McConaughey. He said, Derrick, I did not want to be the rom-com guy anymore. They would give me $8 million and $10 million and $12 million, and they would pile on more money to each script. But I said, no, that is not who I wanted to be. Instead, McConaughey wanted to be the go-to drama guy. He wanted to be the serious character actor. He had to say no and no and no because people thought he was a different person than he really was. He had to unbrand to rebrand. And some of you in this room may need to do that same thing. Let me tell you a personal story. I was stuck in a dead-end job, and I had a decision to make. I could either continue to rely on someone else to tell me what my economic value was, or I could place a big bet on Derrick, and I could launch my own business. I'd always enjoyed investing, making money, saving money. I decided to become a financial advisor. Therein was another big problem. As I looked in the mirror, I was 24 years old. I looked like a punk. I had not a shred of gray hair. The two sides of my mustache didn't even meet. And I had a really big nose. Not a lot of things were going for me at this point. What I realized was there were a lot of other financial advisors already in that space. I had a choice to make. Do I choose to compete with all the other financial advisors who had more experience, clients, and knowledge, or do I choose a problem to solve? And it turns out, get this, that successful people who make money like to have their life less complicated and more simplified. And so the problem I chose was, I will help make complex financial topics easy to understand. What happened was, my business grew, and I expanded that to be on television and on radio, because as it happens, people who are successful don't like minutia. Minutia is the enemy. Opportunity is where the profits flow from. And so what I want to tell you tonight is, if you want to own your success, no longer be a renter, but be a long-term owner, you must own a problem. Now, how do you do that? Within the next 24 to 48 hours, I want you to write down on a piece of paper, on your phone, 2 columns. Column 1 is, these are the top 5 clients, donors, customers that I love in my business. I love working with them. They're the people that when you see their names on your calendar, you smile really big. You know those people. And be honest, you know the people who you're like, oh no, they're coming in again? I get it. The next column is, who are your 5 most profitable customers, most generous donors? Now we're identifying who you're already solving problems for. I'm giving you the golden ticket right now to help you grow your business, because we need you. The 40 people in this room, we need you more than ever. Arlington, Texas needs you to solve more problems. We can't rely on other people to do that. Arlington is the beacon, and you are the shining light in Arlington. Think about when you merge those columns together, that becomes the golden ticket. And you ask yourself, why did these people come to work with me in the first place? What was the problem they brought to me that I am the solution? That tells you how to market yourself as a business owner, as a nonprofit, as an employee moving up the career ladder. Because if you choose to stay in the game where you look like everybody else and you're not differentiated, we know what people do. They base decisions on price. And when you know you can provide the best solution, and now you're having to drop your price because you're being compared to someone else, that is just not right. And tonight, I can't allow that to happen anymore. So here's what's at stake. If we continue to focus on the products and features of our services and products, you will not make the money you deserve as an employee, you will not grow your business's revenue, and you will not achieve the life of meaning and fulfillment that you want. We know that the more problems you solve, the more profits you make, the more good you can do, and that leads to more meaning and significance in your life. How nice is it to lay your head on the pillow at night, knowing that you solved people's problems for a profit? You can do good in the causes you care deeply about, and now you're making a difference. You become more valuable. I believe that is the future of small business and how employees will stand out, not for their hard work, but for their smart work. In closing, we're facing some challenges right now. You look at the headlines: rising inflation, worries about a recession, anxiety about business slowdown. We need the 40 under 40 in this room to say what I say to myself in the mirror every morning. I've heard there's a recession coming, but I've decided not to participate. It's in moments like this, when the economy looks the crunchiest and there's more worry in the streets, that millionaires are made, that businesses grow, that seeds are planted that blossom into huge opportunities. When the pain is in the street, more ideal clients you will meet. Now, for us to manage our money well requires us to manage our relationship with God well. Let me say that again. For us to manage our money well requires us to manage our relationship with God well. I believe the two go hand in hand. And John 15:5 gives us a blueprint for what money success looks like when it says, I am the vine and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. The bottom line is this: our money is rooted in the Word. It's rooted in the Bible. I believe God wants us to be good stewards. The challenge is we have to take action to do that. So my challenge again today is to take one thing that we can apply and do better financially. Well, as we finish today, what I want you to take away is this, that there's 3 steps to winning at the game of money: live, save, and give. Those are 3 easy words, but hard to apply. So let's dive right in. Step number 1, living and winning at the game of money. I'm reminded of a man who was having some health challenges. And he put off going to the doctor, and this went on month after month. And at his wife's very pleasant insistence, he finally went to the doctor. And the doctor probed him and prodded him and did the x-ray and did all kinds of tests. And as you can imagine, the wife was very, very concerned. And so the doctor excused the wife into the hallway to give the diagnosis. And the doctor said, "Ma'am, I have some very serious news to share with you. Your husband is likely going to die." Well, the wife's face was horribly disappointed. But she said, "Whatever it takes, doctor, I'll do whatever it takes." And the doctor said, "Look, if you do the following things, he can live a completely normal life. If you wait on him hand and foot, cook all his favorite meals, make sure that he's catered on all the time, he will live a completely normal life." Well, the wife thanked the doctor for this great advice. And as you can imagine, driving home, the man was chomping at the bit to know, what did the doctor say? And with a look of sorrow in her eyes, she said, "Honey, you're going to die." Sometimes budgeting itself can feel like a near-death experience, but it's critical and it's a foundational piece to knowing where we stand financially. So no matter what your age or your income, budgeting is critical to success. And a principle I would share with you is this: don't live on 100% of your income. There is no margin for opportunities or emergencies that may come up. If you live on 100%, you're at the razor's edge. The rubber band is stretched as hard as it can go, and if it snaps, there's no cushion that's there. So what I want to do now, we'll put it up on the screen here. I want to share with you 2 budget suggestions. Now, I know the word budget can be a negative word sometimes, but again, it's that foundational piece. So here are 2 ideas for you. First of all, budget number 1, and let me just preface this by saying this. This comes from a heart of helping you be more generous and how do we save more money. So think about how could you tweak this and how could you modify this to your situation. All right, here we go. Budget number 1, I call this the 80-10-10 model. We want to live on 80%, save 10%, and then tithe 10%. You'll notice the theme as I talk. I'm a big proponent of tithing, okay? So we're going to see that theme throughout our talk together today. So what this does is it gives you some cushion. It allows you then to save money now and for the future, but also give money to the church. Now, how do we do this? When my wife and I first got married, we were involved in a money management class at our church, much like FPU, kind of the precursor of that, which was fantastic for us. And they taught us the envelope system. The envelope system is this: you take a stack of envelopes, you write on each envelope what budget item you've got, and you put cash in those envelopes. And the way this works is once the cash leaves the envelope, that expense is done. You no longer spend any money on that. Or you could rob Peter to pay Paul, and you borrow from one envelope to the other, but once the envelopes are empty, that's it. And so it allows you to be very focused on the budget itself. The other piece here is to identify and reduce your expenses. Think about this like a financial x-ray. You go to the doctor, they show here's where you are health-wise today. We want to look and see what expenses we've got and what can we cut back on and make some necessary changes. The last piece here is to save and tithe off the top. And I believe it's important to have more money left than there is month. So many people tend to wait to the end of the month and say, whatever's left over, that's what I'll save, that's what I'll give. I am a proponent of do it off the top and see what God does to bless that. All right, so that's budget number 1. Now, budget number 2, I call this the debt reduction strategy. And this is the 70-10-10-10 model, okay? Now, I know you may be sitting there thinking, Derrick, we are strapped living at 100%. How in the world could we live on 70%? And I'm going to share in a moment a thought on that. So let's put a placeholder there. So what this shows here is we live on 70, we save 10, give 10, pay down debt with 10, okay? Now, my friend Dave Ramsey, who most of us are familiar with, he talks about the concept, which I like, called the debt snowball. We're familiar with that? His model is line up all of the debts that you've got, and then by lowest to highest amount, start to pay those debts off. Build up some positive momentum. I like a different approach, but it works similar. I like taking all the debts, lining them up, but then pay off the highest interest rate first and working your way down. The bottom line is this: it doesn't matter. Just pay off the debt. Just find the way that works best for you, that both you and as a couple have bought into and can make progress on it, okay? All right, let's move on. So how does this work? We're focused on building up our cash reserves, and the goal here is to build up about 3 to 6 months of committed living expenses in your checking and savings accounts. Now, why is this important? Well, let's say a job issue occurs, a health issue occurs, a family issue occurs. We want to have some margin that we don't have to go back and pull money out of our retirement accounts. Make sense? Okay, so we're taking this one step at a time. And the key here is once that 3 to 6 months is built up, then we look at the company retirement plan and looking at more long-term types of planning. All right, so let's recap what's happening here. You're reducing and tracking your expenses, you're building up your cash reserves, and you're tithing. And we're going to talk about tithing in just a few minutes and the importance of doing that, especially getting a fresh start to the new year. It's fantastic. Now, listen, let's be real. I realize that most people's expenses tend to rise to the level of their income. It's human nature. But you've got to fight back. Culture will tell you, spend, spend, spend. When I go to a retail store and I go in to buy one item and I go to check out, I've got to circle through this maze of temptation, I call it. It's only $1, it's only $1. I could walk out spending $10 more I hadn't planned on, but the temptation aisle is very present. You want to be very focused on fighting against that, okay? Now, let me call a timeout here. Let's have a candid discussion. We've just talked about whatever your lifestyle is right now. All of you in this room come here at a different point in your financial and spiritual life. So I'm not here to tell you what to do. These are suggestions to prayerfully consider, okay? So the timeout is this. Many of the doctors that we work with in our practice, for example, will tell us when they have a patient who faces a life-threatening issue, get this, less than 50% of those people change their lifestyle. They're told, if you don't change your lifestyle, you will likely die. But less than 50% of them make change. So I realize if your health is on the line and it's hard to make a change, your money may take a back seat to that. So the challenge I would have for you is this is, what is your compelling reason? What is your compelling reason to make this change? And I want you to think about, what would you give up? What loss would it cause you if you didn't achieve these goals? Could you not live in the house you live in now? Could you not live in the house you want to live in? Could you not send your kids to the college you want to send them to? Could you not have the retirement you've always wanted? The bottom line is this, and it's very effective yet painful. I need you to find an emotion inside that you connect with, that if I don't do this, it will cause me great pain and loss. As I like to say, until the pain is great, the change will not occur. Until the pain is great, the change will not occur. And sometimes you have to make drastic changes to achieve remarkable results. I want to share with you a story. One of our clients came to us, they were referred to us, and within about 6 months of starting working with us, they both lost their jobs. It was a terrible situation. They had no cash reserves built up. We were helping them begin that process. And what happened was, over that 6-month period, they built up quite a bit of debt, okay? And what they vowed when they both got rehired at various positions, they said to themselves, We will not let this ever happen again. It brought pain on their family. It cost them a lot of money. It caused them to pull money out of places they never thought they'd have to. They ended up with $68,000 of debt. Let that number sink in. It's a big, big number. They said they drew a line in the sand, this will not happen again. Within 18 months, with dedication, budget cutting, focus and effort and accountability as a couple together walking arm in arm, they paid every dollar off. You see, until the pain was great, their change could not occur. And the challenge I have for you today is this. Look at your own situation. What is one thing you can do in 2019 that if we were having coffee together a year from now, you could say, Derrick, I'm so proud of this. Here's what we did. We made one change, and here's how it affected us positively financially. Does that make sense? All of us can do one thing. So what are some steps to take? And the key here is that once you decide that you will, it becomes just a question of how. Once you decide you will, it becomes a question of how. What steps to take? And I'm going to step on a nerve here, so nobody throw any items from the crowd. Cutting unnecessary items, eating out, cutting the cappuccinos. I know that's, for many people, Starbucks is a spiritual gift, and I recognize that. Simple things, shopping your electricity rates, shopping your cable rates. The bottom line here, get creative. If there's in your home group or your couple group that you hang out with, if all of you are in a similar situation, agree, look, let's all hold each other accountable here. The bottom line is we want to make sure that we're making progress for the future. Downsizing, automobiles, club memberships, getting a second job if we have to. I mean, when push comes to shove, we have to take action and also hold each other accountable. But I want to encourage you through all of this. The tithing and saving piece is critical. Now, I can speak personally until I'm blue in the face, but I know many of you in this room have had and seen God bless you, that somehow God multiplies it. The math that God works in is not our math. It's a higher level spiritual math, okay? I didn't do well in math in high school, but I'm doing well in math now because God teaches me his math program. It's a great, great program. The bottom line is to take that step of faith. So financially and spiritually, a firm foundation starts right here, John 15:5. I keep that as my anchor verse. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. So when I think about that, I think about dedicated time on my knees, in the Word, seeking God for wisdom. I want you to picture yourself in this situation. You're in the middle of the ocean. You're in a boat. The waves are knocking you back and forth. It's pitch black. There's not a star in the sky to see. There's no navigation. There's no electronics. You are totally, unequivocally on your own. The winds are gusting. The waves are going up. Think about that situation. That's how most of us find ourselves making key financial decisions. Everything is coming against us. We're faced with everything, but what we don't do is we don't have a compass. We don't use the Word of God to make wise decisions. I want to encourage you, and we'll talk in a few minutes about some practical ways to do this, taking that moment and say, God, I don't know what to do. I am totally lost. I need you to step in right now and give me wisdom. Does that make sense? He is faithful to meet us right there. And the goal here is, and why I harp so much on saving, we don't want a personal tragedy to become a financial tragedy. All right, so step number one, we talked about living. Step number two to winning the game of money is saving. So as you get established in your career, here are some fundamental principles we want to take a look at. First of all, limit credit card spending. Again, some of the basics. Set up a plan for college savings. Save for retirement. And keep building up cash reserves for opportunities. Now, here's what we know about credit cards. Very interesting. When you use a credit card, believe it or not, you're likely to spend up to 20% more than if you use cash. And it's the physical action of having to take money out of our wallet, out of our purse, write a check, that causes us, as we walk through the temptation aisles, to spend more money because it's easy. Very, very important to keep an eye on that. Now, when my kids were growing up, we used to love to go to the arcades, different places where they'd play games or you'd play golf and you get the tickets. Anybody taking their kids, grandkids, you remember these joyful times where the pizza tasted great, it was cheap, all kinds of fun. Every birthday party. I remember that the look on my kids' faces as they would accumulate all these tickets and they would go, we'd count them up and there would be 500 tickets, 1,000 tickets. They'd go and they'd see the prize wall. Remember the prize wall? And they would see the big stuffed teddy bear and the remote control car. And my personal favorite, the lava lamp. It was awesome. And they expected to buy those big ticket items and they walked up to the counter proudly with their ticket, ready. And the worker would say, well, with this amount, you need to look on the first row. And she'd point them to, you can get a stick of bubble gum or the Army Man. There wasn't the big prizes that were there. And when it comes to credit cards, use them as a tool. So many people I talk to say, I'm going to use this for the points. The points represent a small fraction of a dollar amount. So be wise in terms of how you spend, but use it as a tool. All right, let's touch on education. Now, this is fun because if you have kids or grandkids, this is very applicable. As we talk with our clients, there's three main approaches that we see people use. And the bottom line is you get to choose. You choose whatever is best for you and your family. The key is to choose something. So the first option is this. You decide that you will cover the entire cost of college for your kids. No problem. If you save the money or you want to take out the loans, you take care of that. So the money is completely borne by you. The other option is you say, look, we've not saved anything, so it's completely on the back of you, the student. You take out the loans, you cover the entire cost. Either way, whatever works. Or there is becoming a more popular model, we call it the half and half program, where the student pays half and the parent pays half. And the purpose of that model is there's some ownership, there's some skin in the game. The bottom line is this. You need to pick a philosophy as a family as to what you're going to do. But let me share this with you. Here's the guaranteed fail plan. If you want to fail, here's exactly the verbiage to say and what to do. First of all, don't bring up college at all with your kids until they bring it up with you. And when they're about to pick a college, surprise them and say, oh, by the way, there's no money. It's guaranteed to fail. So here's what I suggest you do. We talked about that money is messy. None of these discussions are nice canned scripts that we all talk about with each other. So be honest with your kids. Be honest and say, look, we haven't done a good job of saving. The monkey is going to be on your back. You've got to save money, get scholarships, work. That's fine. But have the dialogue open so that everybody's on the same page. Does that make sense? So the key is that we're open and honest. Okay? All right. Let's move on here. Now, saving for retirement, one of my favorite topics. We've talked about now building up some cash reserves. Now the goal is, how do we become more savvy investors? As we talk with our clients, these are the easy ones. Get involved in your company 401k. If you work for a normal company, if there is a nonprofit, a church, a school, maybe called a 403b. If you're self-employed, it may be a SEP IRA, an IRA. All these things, they all work very similarly. But one thing to talk with your advisor about is a new concept that came out a couple years ago called a Roth 401k. Not to put anybody to sleep here, but let me give you just a quick comparison. Traditional 401k, money comes out of your paycheck, reduces your taxable income. You pay tax down the road when you pull the money back out. Roth 401k, no tax break now, but it's completely tax-free when you pull money back out down the road. So someone who is closer to retirement, the traditional 401k may be the best way to go. For someone beginning to save for retirement, the Roth 401k may be a more appropriate way to go. So talk to your advisor, see what makes the most sense. But the bottom line is, companies are doing away with pensions. I think about my grandfather who worked 30, 40 years at a steel company, got the gold watch, got the certificate, got the pension for life. Those days are leaving us. What does that mean? That means there's more pressure on each of you in this room to save more, do more, and be more savvy about how you save for retirement. So the pressure has shifted to us.